Yesterday we was talking about the power of momentum, about gaining that momentum, about how it might be quite slow at first in order to build up that inertia, that over that time we've compounded those habits, those little 1% actions, and we've started to build and build, and now we've finally got a momentum, and we're going, and we're moving, and we're feeling more in flow. Synchronicities are opening up more to us. We're really thriving because we have that momentum. And like in life, there's going to be things that influences that, for the better or for the worst. So this video is just to highlight some of those influences, just to be mindful of, which may help with your momentum, or it may distract from it. So it's there's three things. There's the inputs, there's the association with others, and there's the environment. So the inputs, kind of an obvious one, but what you put in is what you get out. So you put shit in, McDonald's for example, you get shit out. It's not very productive for your energy system, for example. Or it could be a case of if you're constantly consuming mainstream media and listening to all that doom and gloom, you have an option of is that beneficial for you, or would sort of like be listening to a inspirational, motivational video or audiobook of somebody who's been there, done these kinds of things, and can actually leave those breadcrumbs for you to actually be able to maintain that life. So that's the inputs. What we put in, what we're consuming is going to have an impact on our motivation and momentum levels. Then there's the association with others. So it is said that we become the product of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. In other words, we kind of morph into those. We start picking up on their kind of who they are. We come in that kind of clique. So if we're hanging around the people who, for example, have that extra beer or glass of wine with a meal, and then of course it's always a Friday and Saturday night, and let's have a dessert as well, and let's have a fried breakfast on a Sunday morning. You become that kind of in with that clique of those 5 most people you spend the time with. Whereas you could easily be with people who you meet up with for a nice juice, yoga class. You might talk about your goals, your ambitions, spirituality, and really be thriving and growing through the people that you associate yourself with. Now, of course, when I first heard this concept, I had my circle of friends and family, and you can't choose your family, and all these kinds of thoughts was coming into my head. But there is times and pockets where you can spend those times with those people, of course. But what you want to be gearing yourself towards is the quality of time and the quantity of time with those that are actually on that same trajectory as you, or they've actually been out there, done it, and you're actually learning from them. So it's very important to actually look at who you're associating yourself with. Another way of associating yourself with people is to take on some form of mentor, find a mentor or a coach, and they will actually help you to just become the best version of who you are. Have some form of accountability in there, so you can show up each week and let them know what your highlights have been, what your lowlights have been, and your aha moments for that week. So these kinds of sharings, these kinds of conversations, these kinds of personal interactions, these associations with others is a good influence as to how you're going to keep that momentum going and how you're going to keep yourself thriving. And finally, I mentioned environment. So in the environment, it's what are those things that's what's holding you back in your environment. So it could be on the physical, the mental, the emotional. So for example, physically, it's an obvious one. If your desk's a mess and cluttered, you know, is that not a reflection that you're messy and cluttered? So it's about having that nice environment. It's about having the nice aromas. It's about having the right lighting. It's about setting these things up physically. Emotionally, you know, it could be a case of you know, is there reminders of an ex-girlfriend, for example, that every time you sort of like subconsciously see it in the background, it takes you back to that ooh, you know, kind of thing. I'm not saying that is always the case, but there could be something in the environment that's energetically sucking your energy, because it's a reminder from some it could be any situation. I mean, for example, I just did a scan of a bookshelf at home, and there's a book on there that it felt like I was like railroaded into something, and somebody had bought me this book, and I thought, yeah, it didn't really align with me, and why have I kept that, you know? So I put it in a charity box, you know. There's always little reminders subconsciously in our houses and in the environment, which can actually drain our energy, or it's not in alignment with us, or we've actually outgrown it, and actually it's an anchor and it's holding us back. So yeah, these are the three major influences that can either build that momentum or suck the energy from the momentum. So yeah, the inputs, the association with others, and the environment. So yeah, hope this has been a useful video, and as always, any questions, please reach out, and yeah, please do share, like, and I will see you on the next video. Ciao for now.